Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Kindred Souls of Brooklyn, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Brooklyn Secrets. And on this one, folks, I think it's going to be a fascinating video, the odd correlation between the Queen Mary 2 and the Verrazano Bridge. You never think those two would have any kind of correlation, but they do. So stay tuned, hope you enjoy it. Brooklyn Secrets. Stay tuned. So first off, there's an interesting distinction about ocean liners and cruise ships. Now, the Queen Mary 2, which I'll put up a stat right here, is the only ocean liner in the entire world. She was built in 2004, and she took the place of the Queen Elizabeth II. Now, the big difference between an ocean liner, when you think of an ocean liner, you think of the grand vessels of the Titanic area that sailed, from England to New York. So basically, ocean liners sail kind of transcontinentally, whereas cruise ships will just go around the destination. And that's the big distinction right off the bat. And like I'm telling you, there's only one ocean liner in the entire world, and that's the QE2. So with that taken care of, let's start our video and talk about the amazing distinction between the Verrazano and the Queen Mary. And I want to add, folks, please stay tuned to the end of the video, because one of my subscribers sent me some footage of when they were on the Queen Mary 2 actually sailing underneath the Verrazano Bridge. It's really cool. It's super amazing. So with that, I want to start telling you about it, which is the Queen Mary 2, when it was built specifically to fit underneath the Verrazano Bridge. They can only go underneath the Verrazano Bridge at low tide. And because even then it's even a tight fit, but if they try to go under the Verrazano during high tide, they'll only have about 13 feet of clearance. But even so, they specifically made the funnel on the on the Queen Mary 2, smaller. They made it like smaller and not as big as they wanted to make it. And they even designed the top of the ship lower so it fits under the Verrazano. Now you would think it's kind of an amazing fact, because a boat like that, or a grand vessel like that, if you want to call it, it goes literally all over the world. And the fact that, we all know that Brooklyn is special, hence, our channel here, and probably why you're watching, because you're fascinated with Brooklyn like I am, or you lived in Brooklyn for such a long period of time like I did. That's why I find these Brooklyn videos really super cool, when we talk about Brooklyn secrets and things that folks don't really already know. I mean, we know we're known for pizza, we know we're known for like diversity, but in terms of these secrets that come out, this is my favorite thing. I love history, specifically Brooklyn history. And the fact that that ship was designed in such a way, specifically for the Verrazano Bridge, is amazing in and of itself. I mean, the Verrazano Bridge is a bit nefarious. I love that bridge, and yet it's the most expensive, if you don't know it, it's the most expensive toll in all of the United States. Now, I remember my father telling me when the bridge was built, like in 1964, and they were going to name it after John F. Kennedy, who had recently been assassinated, our president. And because they were naming the airport after him and so many other things were named after him, they decided to name it after the explorer who actually cataloged or made the map of that area. So hence the name, the Verrazano. And it was actually spelled incorrectly for a long time too, but that was straightened out recently. But just an incredible story about the whole Verrazano Bridge thing. And I want to talk a little bit more about the Queen Mary. So I'm here at Turtle Beach, which is right adjacent to Siesta Key. And that's like the #1 beach in America. And I figured it'd be a good place to talk about cruise ships and things like that. So just talking about the Queen Mary, I mean, it's hard to imagine the magnitude of the ship. We had seen the Queen Elizabeth II, and it's permanently docked over in not Malibu, right off of California over there. And it's really interesting. But this boat is this ship. I mean, it's just such a grand vessel. It's actually the fastest ocean. It's the only ocean liner in the world, like I was telling you. But it can outspeed any cruise liner. Basically, it goes about 7 knots faster than even the fastest cruise ship. It's bigger than the Titanic by about 252 feet. So this is a really, really grand vessel that you just don't really see anymore. And I mean, who knows? I mean, I think you could actually cross the Atlantic in the Queen Mary 2 obviously in 5 days, which is really, really fast. I think they kind of do the cruises in 6 because they don't want it to go too fast. And I think it's, it's a more noble vessel. They don't want to push it too much. But I think it's really cool that there's such an amazing correlation between that. And of course, one of the most popular routes has always been you know, from Southampton over to New York City. In fact, when the Titanic was coming and a lot of the other ocean liners come to the piers that are over in New York City, I know when this one comes, the Queen Mary 2 comes over, they actually have tugboats that actually stay outside to make sure nothing runs into it, because it's actually too long for the pier itself. And I think they were supposed to build a longer pier. If they did it, didn't, I don't know, but I know for the longest time that's what they were doing, just for safety. So it's really, really interesting about how these things work and how Brooklyn always plays a part somehow in world history, even with this, right? So I'm just going to show you a little bit of this beach right here, and tell you, right after this, I'm going to include the footage that one of my subscribers sent to me. So this is Turtle Beach. The reason I wanted to come here too was they just put new sand down. Now, it's hard to imagine a kid from Brooklyn like myself when you're here in bare feet and your feet don't really get hot or burn in the sand. But this is like quartz sand, and they just put new sand down. You can see it's darker. The new sand is darker right here than the sand over there. And you can see people are walking in bare feet and it doesn't even bother you. And it's just incredible. So Siesta Key, which is, like I said, it gets voted usually the #1 beach in America every year, is literally right down there. And this is just Turtle Beach. Each beach over here has a different personality. They call this Turtle Beach because in the fall is when all the turtles, the sea turtles hatch, and they of course run into the ocean, and it's kind of an amazing sight. And you'll see different wooden things that they erect here to protect them. But okay, with no further ado, here's the footage from the Queen Mary actually going underneath the Verrazano Bridge. And I want to thank my friend John from Vermont, who's a subscriber, for providing me with the footage. So stay tuned, and I'll give you a little goodbye after the footage is over. So gotta find Carrie, wherever Carrie is, somewhere here. Carrie's hiding somewhere over here. There she is.
Did you come specifically to see the ship? Oh, just caught it, yeah. Oh, okay.
As you folks can see, not much room to spare. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and thank John again for his video contribution. Much appreciated. Big shout out to John from Vermont. Alright folks, so thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care now.